Greetings everyone and Happy New Year. It's time for a brand new Q&A to kick things off, so I've gotten your questions. I'll do my best to answer them. Let's just jump right into it. Jin SS asks, are you excited for Fatal Frame 4 to be officially released outside of Japan on Switch next year after a long time? I personally am excited that people will be able to play without needing patches. Yeah, of course. I mean, I've pre-ordered a PS4 copy myself. I'm quite excited to experience that game again in official English, but also, I think the Wii version was impossible to 100% without some kind of outside patch or hack or whatever it was. I think the game was just bugged. So presumably the official localized version will be fixed as well, so I'm excited about that too. Manny Stovall has a few questions. How often have you died on certain video games? I'm not sure what that means unless you want me to pick out particular games I've died a lot on. Like, I don't know, like Souls games or whatever, when I'm hacking away at bosses. But I don't know what certain games means, because if you just say video games, then my answers are anywhere from never to lots of times. So I don't know, Souls, a bunch. I'll just go with that. Have you planned on getting the Callisto Protocol? Yeah, eventually. I'll probably wait for a discount. I mean, I know that reviews have been generally disappointing, but horror games in general, unless they're Resident Evil 4 or Silent Hill 2, are like constantly 6s and 7s out of 10s. So I don't really mind that people are like, oh, it's not a 10? They never are. What is the most difficult levels in your opinions? That's tough. It usually depends on context. Sometimes things are difficult because of awkward controls or whatever, or sometimes the game intentionally messes with your controls, like Donkey Kong Country 3 has that one poison pond level where your horizontal controls are reversed. You can get used to it if you keep playing it over and over, but I am not used to it. There are also levels that have really hard bosses that make you do the big walk of shame all the way back. Like, the level isn't that bad, but it's super punishing if you die, like King of Land and Demon Souls, like Demon Souls 1-5, those are kind of annoying. IEC levels, levels where you're constantly poisoned, I don't know, stuff like that, I think. Wesley Machado, what do you think about the Metro franchise? It looks interesting, but I haven't actually played any of them. I should probably get on that. Have you looked into the Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters that are coming in 2023? Yeah, I'm going to pre-order them when I get the chance, if only because I'm assuming the localization is going to be fixed for Suikoden 2, as well as the bugs. I look forward to having proper dialogue for that game, because the translation felt off on the PS1 version. I think Konami is doing great by giving those games some proper treatment after so many years. It took long enough. Konami has let a lot of its series die as far as releasing new games, but they've been really, really good about releasing remasters and collections of their old ones. I hope they bring back Suikoden 3 as well, so you could do the Suikoden 2 into 3 save data transfer. It's a little tiny thing, but it'd be nice just not to have that trapped on the PS2. And also, release Suikoden Gaiden 1 or 2. 1 and 2, I should say. Because I know there was a 0% chance anyone would have bought them in the original release, but America is getting a little more receptive to visual novels. Like, help us out. That'd be nice. Also, I'd love to watch a Suikoden 2 Let's Play in the future. Well, I streamed it. It's on my channel. It's not a Let's Play. It kind of is. So there you go. Congratulations. I did Suikoden 1, 2, Gaiden 1 and 2, and 3 so far. Buried Sorrow. You're a superhero with an unlikely power. Is it the ability to shoot meatballs from your nose, or the power to create force fields, but only around ants? Force fields, because it sounds like less of a pain in the ass. Save the Duck. Do you ever wash that Alice t-shirt? Okay, here's a secret little behind-the-scenes piece of information for you. I wear this shirt for like 5 minutes when I do a status update. I'm not wearing it all day. Yes, I wash the thing when I wear it for like actual extended periods of time. Like for this Q&A, for example. I'll probably have this for like an hour, which really isn't that long in the grand scheme of things, but yeah, you know, like I've properly worn it at this point. Not to mention when I go to conventions where I'm actually wearing it as a shirt for a day. Like, how long you normally wear clothes for, so yes, I do. Groovy George, seeing that you're into anime and manga like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Berserk, have you read Chainsaw Man? It's pretty cool. No, I haven't actually. I mostly hear that people like it, but I haven't gotten too much specific information other than, oh my god, he's got chainsaws, but like I don't really know about the plot so much or the characters. I've just heard that it's generally good, but I haven't attempted to look into it. The Jurassic Junkie. Is there a new game or series that you're looking forward to playing? A commercial or a Kickstarter? When you're not... a new question, I'll get to that. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I say I look forward to, but when am I going to play it? I tend to play one thing at a time other than flipping back and forth between what I'm streaming. So even if there's a game I've really been looking forward to, like Lollipop Chainsaw, I think it took me a year to actually play it, and I've genuinely been hyped about it. So who even knows, man? When you're not making Let's Plays or grading papers, is there any TV shows, hobbies you enjoy? I watched JoJo Stone Ocean. That recently aired, so I watched that. I follow Rick and Morty. It's a fun show that also just wrapped up a season. I like reading, although at this point I often do my reading before and during breaks at work, because it's like, I'm just sitting here. What else am I doing? So I break out a book. I need to get back into the piano, though. I'm out of practice. Dino Man 9398. Hello, in an earlier video, I think you said you're a teacher. Mind asking me what kind of teacher? What do you teach? I teach formal persuasive writing essays for college freshmen. Alyssa Milano. What is the rarest game console you own? That's a little difficult because it depends on what you mean. If we're talking just anything, then I guess there's the unofficial stuff, like Analogue's Super NT or Mega SG, or this isn't Analog, but the AVS. If we're talking official but secret, then the Genesis Mini 2, maybe. It's right up there with like the SNES Classic. The SNES Classic is less rare. The Genesis Mini 2, you could order it from Amazon US, but it had to ship from Japan. That was obnoxious. But if we're talking... I still hesitate to say mainstream, but you could get it at GameStop, but a PlayStation TV. I got the PlayStation TV. That's probably the rarest regular console I have. That's how I Let's Played Danganronpa back when I uploaded it. Now you can play Danganronpa on any platform, but it was kind of novel to have footage of it back then. Anime Boy Snake. What were your thoughts on the Silent Hill 2 and 3 HD remasters? I don't own them, I haven't played them, but I've mainly heard bad things. Silent Hill 2 was, I think, sort of like a beta release. It had older code in it, and Silent Hill 3 just replaced the voice cast, although otherwise I think the game is about the same. But this was when Konami was not making spectacular remasters of their work. What was the worst mainline Resident Evil game in your opinion? Okay, so I haven't played, like, anything past 5, so no comment on anything past 5. Like, I hear Operation Raccoon City isn't very good, but I haven't played it, no comment. So, I don't know, Survival 2, maybe, or Survivor 2, maybe? The one that wasn't even localized in the West? Possibly. And finally, how come you never did a Clock Tower 3 series? I would like to, but I mean, it's like, how come I haven't done any game in the world other than the one that I'm currently uploading? Like, I'm only doing one thing at a time. If I wanted to double down on a series, then that means I'm not playing anything else, so I'm kind of spreading myself too thin. I want to catch up to Resident Evil. I still haven't played Remake of 2, but oh well, I last played Outbreak, and now there's other stuff I'm going to upload before I even attempt Outbreak 2, whether I end up uploading that or not, let alone Resident Evil 4, a game I've actually been looking forward to. Shadow Wolf. When can we expect to see Elden Ring? Well, I can never give you a when on anything, even when I've recorded it, which I have. Like, at this date, I don't know. If I have even one Let's Play before it, then I have no time to give you. I don't know. but soon as far as my channel is concerned. With the Silent Hill 2 remake coming, will you be Let's Playing it, or streaming, or just at home on your own time? That's a good question. I was gonna Let's Play it or stream it, but I don't know which. Do you have interest in games like Final Fantasy IX? Chrono Cross? Kind of. Earthbound? Yes. Would you ever play or upload them while not involving Patreon? Well, I have played Earthbound, although that was on an emulator back in college. But I own it for real now. Not a physical copy, but I have an SNES Classic. Chrono Cross I have digitally. I got it on the PS3's store, and Final Fantasy IX I just don't own. I never really got into Final Fantasy. I streamed Mystic Quest, and I own FF3. Final Fantasy VI, I have FF3 on Super Nintendo. That's probably as passionate as I'm going to get. Which would you choose? 2 weeks in Raccoon City with crappy equipment, Silent Hill, crappy equipment. There's more specific information, but I'm just not doing it. It's 3 places, crappy equipment. Resident Evil, Silent Hill, the USG Ishimura, which is from Dead Space. Probably Silent Hill, because even here, it's not a guarantee, but it's like the one place where there's a chance the monsters are not actively trying to kill me. Resident Evil, if I face anything other than a zombie, I'm dead. And if I face a zombie, there's probably 1 million of them, which means I'm dead. And Ishimura, I'm dead in like 2 seconds. Like, nobody survives the Ishimura. Don't even try. Rhett Buckley. Have you seen the Castlevania anime? No, but I've heard it's good. What's your opinion on how the Berserk manga is going after Miura's passing? I haven't noticed much of an art difference. I'm wondering if he finished those chapters but didn't release them. If those are, in fact, the new artists, then they did a damn good job. I will say, at the time of this recording, the latest chapter that came out, we've got a new twist, we've got new drama, but I tell you, if that were the last chapter, when Miura had died, I would have been livid. The one that we initially ended on, it's clearly not the end of the series, but it was a moment of peace. I would have been furious if this were the actual last chapter, but they are continuing, so I'm curious to see where it goes. What do you think of the Silent Hill revival announcement? I don't freaking know. Like they announced 3 Silent Hill games, but I don't know what any of them are. I didn't get a sense of them from the teasers. It's just imagery. Thing will exist. It's alright. And the direction of the Silent Hill 2 remake? I don't know. They recreated the scene where he looks in the mirror. I don't know about the direction of the remake. The graphics look gorgeous. Have you played The Medium by Bloober Team? No, and I refuse to on account of stuff I've heard about it. If there's a remake of a horror game like Resident Evil 2, can it work with over-the-shoulder third person? Or should they stick to the original camera style? Well, Resident Evil 2 appears to work because they do their own thing with it. The worst thing you can do is try a 1-to-1 remake, but then make it over-the-shoulder, because then you're like, oh, it's easier now, I could just shoot things. I no longer have to worry about the janky controls that the game was initially designed with. Oh, this is suddenly extremely easy now, so doing its own thing is a good move. I recognize the layout of the police station, but different things happen, and there are different puzzles, and monsters are tougher to compensate for your ability to aim properly. It kind of makes me think of Killer 7 when it was released on Steam. HD widescreen, look, it looks gorgeous now! But there's one particular fight, the second Ayame Blackburn fight, where you can only see her when the light is shining on her and she's sliding left and right, and you're like, you have to break your aim and aim to the left because she's over there now. Break your aim to the right, she's over there now. But in widescreen, you could see almost the entire arena anyway, and you can aim at the speed of the mouse. So I'm like, there she is, and it was like an effortless fight when it was supposed to be terrifying. That's why 1-to-1 can be a little scary. Although, to be fair, that was the only fight where 4x3 really mattered. The rest of the game felt fine, but that's why if you're going to go from fixed camera angle to over-the-shoulder, 1-to-1 may not be the best idea. I'm a purist to a degree, but the game would just be a walk in the park if it were original Resident Evil 2, except now I can aim freely. Which games have been the most enjoyable to live stream? I do rather enjoy the games where I can actually get the chat's input. Recently I've been doing Armored Core 2 Another Age, which it's just kind of like, what level should I do next? That's basic. But then there are visual novels, what choices should I make? Or games where that's the whole gimmick, those FMV titles, like The Complex, or Late Shift. Late Shift moved too quickly for actual chat input, but where I change the course of the story based on choice, getting chat input for stuff like that can be quite enjoyable. Sierra Kobold, do you age? Are you synthetic? You flatter me, because if you've been following me for several years, you might notice difference or two. Folletto, would you be willing to bring the Siren series on the channel? I have wanted to. I do have them, including Siren 2, but I never really got around to them specifically because of Siren 2. Because that game does not want to play on an American console. Here's the thing. You've seen me, possibly, playing foreign games on my PlayStation 2. What you may not know is that in order to do this, I have freeloader discs. I have two of them. One for CD-ROM-based games and the other for DVD-based games. However, there are multiple kinds of DVDs. There's something called a dual-layered disc, which maybe you own some yourself. Games with more memory on them, so they have another layer. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it's stuff like God of War 2, Yakuza 2, Rock Band 2, a lot of 2s. And normally nobody cares, because we just have those in our country. Just go out and buy them yourself. But then there's Siren 2. There are only a few games, I think a single-digit number of games, that are foreign only and dual layer, so the person who made the freeloader disc was like, I'm not making a dual layer disc, swap disc, no one's going to buy it. Or not nearly enough people are going to buy it. Because there's only like 4 or 5 games you might be interested in. And in my case, there's one, and it's Siren 2. And it's really frustrating, because the game, like, I can easily play the Japanese one, because it's a single layer disc. The extra information comes from the European disc because it has all the extra languages on it. Because I think it's voice acted in multiple languages. So I could easily play the Japanese one, but whoops, I can't understand Japanese. And they never fan-translated it because it's an official translation on a disc that's too big for my freeloader. Now, my friend Vice did give me a chip that I might be able to have installed in the PS2 if I could find someone to do it. That would be something. If I could play that on an American PS2, that'd be freaking amazing. At the very least, I guess I could do Siren and Siren Blood Curse. That would be nice. Neon Wave. Given how long Chaos Child was, do you think you'll be applying new rules to your Patreon-sponsored Let's Plays to avoiding games you normally wouldn't play, or may take up too much time? No, I don't think so. This was a case of my failure to check howlongtobeat.com. That's on me. I know it's a visual novel, but I was like, yeah, how long could it be? I didn't think it would be the longest thing I'd ever played. If you do plan on playing more visual novels, my suggestion would be ones that are similar to Ace Attorney, 999, and The Letter, which you've played, the latter of which is getting a sequel called Saintmaker. Huh. Not too long, has good points to stop installments, choices are frequent enough, and there are other elements of the game like puzzles, so it's engaging for you and the viewers. I mean, fair enough, I have done Ace Attorney and 999, so yeah, there you go, that checks out. And the first Danganronpa as well. Elemental Hero Joe, which Little Nightmares game did you like better, the first or the sequel? That's tough. I might have more nostalgia for the first, but also, if you're going back to collect little collectible items, the levels in the first game are like 20 to 30 minutes long. But the levels are way longer in Little Nightmares 2, but they don't give you checkpoints to load from. So, oh no, I missed a little hat or something at the end of the level. And I have to play this hour-long level. It's pretty rough. So maybe I'll go with the first one. Is there a food combination that you think should not exist? No, because if there's a food combination I don't like, then I won't eat it. Did you ever go to arcades growing up? If so, what machine did you play the most? I did, but shockingly, I never really got into arcades. I would, like, I'm good after like an hour, maybe 2 hours, because then I'm just kind of standing around. But I played the X-Men arcade game way back in the day, although the one that was near me was for 4 players, not 6. Not that it mattered, I wasn't playing with 100 people anyway, it was just like me and my dad when I was a little kid, but it was the 4-player cabinet. Never did beat it back then, but I have since beaten it on free play. Funny627 Man. Aside from Resident Evil 2, what other Resident Evil game do you consider your favorite in the franchise? 4. 2 is probably my favorite, but 4 is the most fun, and the one I've beaten the most. Nicaragua 5479. Kane or Raziel? That's tough. I have more nostalgia for Kane, but he really is a prick. I think I empathize more with Raziel. Ross, do you think you and Vice will start up reactive/corrective consciousness again? Honestly, I doubt it. Real life has gotten in the way, so we stopped at a good stopping point. WQ15. With the popularity of remakes, do you think we'll see a Resident Evil remake? Oh, a Resident Evil remake. So Resident Evil 1 in the next few years. I don't know, it's possible. The thing is, though, they're going 2, 3, 4. So I'm not sure if they're going to go back to 1. Although I will say, and I mean, everyone else also says this, but Code Veronica is the non-numbered mainline entry that they're just not touching. I wouldn't be surprised, well, I might be a little surprised, but I feel they should probably go for Code Veronica. Is a hot dog a sandwich? I mean, my gut answer is I don't care, but I guess I'll get cute. If the bun is split into 2 pieces, I would say yes, but if it's like the kind that folds over, then I would say no, because otherwise you could call like a taco a sandwich. Can you talk a little bit about how you select your next games to play? It's partly like, oh, I should advance this series, but also partly like, finally, an excuse to play this game. Or here's one I haven't played but want to try. Or here's one I haven't played in a while and want to bring back. It's just kind of my mood a lot of the time. Do you have a master list of things you know you'd like to get to eventually? Not really, although I probably should. Or is it planned out well ahead of time? No. Nate. Have you played Until Dawn? Yes, it's been on my channel for a few years now. Or The Quarry? That's coming soon. And are you a fan of story-based choose-your-own-path games? Yep, I already mentioned here the FMV games where you pick the path. Those can be quite enjoyable. T-Rex. If you could dream up your own game, what would it be? I probably wouldn't. Like, it's not my thing. I think I've answered this before. I said, like, a visual novel just because, like, it's a story. I don't have to bother programming, like, a lot of things that come with other kinds of video games. It would be more about flowcharting. Any top destinations you'd like to travel to? Again, or for the first time? Yeah, I would like to go to Japan. I'm one of few members of my friends group who hasn't been, and I've just been missing out. And I would like to go there at least once. Gaze21X. Is there something you'd like to try, or would consider changing, regarding how you handle YouTube, like when you started doing streams some time ago? Yes, actually. I would like to be able to record record whenever I want, but I'd like to be able to stream earlier in the day. Like, having to wait until night is a little frustrating, and it also alienates a lot of European people who might watch, because by the time I start streaming, it's like 3, 4 in the morning for them. I would like to be able to do stuff like that in the afternoon, but at this point, that's not really viable. This ain't a scene. Have you ever procrastinated playing a game on your backlog because other entries in the franchise are getting remasters or remakes? For example, if Saga, Saga 2, Saga 3, Romancing Saga 2, Romancing Saga 3, Saga Frontier have all gotten ports and remasters since 2017. Would it be crazy to assume Saga Frontier 2 is next? Good question. I don't think I really have. Partly because I like seeing the little differences between the old and the new game, but also, if it's like a 1-to-1 remaster, then I guess I'll play the remaster. Especially if I don't own the original. And then finally, Richard Jackson. How was your Christmas? It was fine. Went to my brother's for dinner. Do you have any plans for 2023? Not really. I'm not a this is what I'm going to do with my time vacation plan person. Will you do a small video of games that you will not play on your channel? I doubt it, because it's difficult for me to think never these. Not to mention, I have mentioned particular games that I wouldn't play, and I've gone back on a few of them. At some point in a comment section somewhere, I said I wouldn't do Dark Souls because it's too long. Whoops. Now I've platinumed multiple Soulsborne games. I said I wouldn't do Rule of Rose because it's painful to play. Whoops. Did that. I think at some point I might have also said I wouldn't do Parasite Eve either. Whoops. Here we are. And then finally, any more crossovers with friends? Yeah, the aforementioned The Quarry. That's coming, and I look forward to it. I'll be playing that with Mr. Ryu. That sets up. Nice. That wraps up the questions for the new year. Thank you all very much for your contributions. I hope that these have been satisfactory answers, and thank you all very much for your support. Have a wonderful year. Until next time, everyone.